you can do that.
Sorry, I just remembered we needed to record this.
Okay. All right, I'll do a quick. Hi, I'm Joanne Ortloff. I'm one of the Arizona ambassadors, and thanks for everybody joining the Zoom. Thanks, Phyllis, for setting this up and the cruise. Okay, so a couple of quick things. The check-in on April 13th when you board. Phyllis, you have an 11:30 boarding time, so I suspect you'll be up in the check-in room sometime around noon 30-ish, noon to noon 30. I posted a video on the Facebook page of the Royal Caribbean Odyssey of the Seas 270. 270 is their like 3-tiered theater. They call it 270 because of the 270-degree view that you get from there from the back of the ship. And in that video, as you watch it, the gentleman will be walking up the stairs and you'll see the library. And the library just to the left of it, as he brings his camera around, you'll see a little meeting room. Pretty sure that's the meeting room that Pam was referring to when she said up near the library. So that's where you'll go. I'll also include that link to that video in email for anyone that's not on the Facebook page so that you get that again. I will be sending out one more email on Sunday, and it'll be the final group emails that I'll send out unless Phyllis or Jill, our other coordinator, has something, or Pam has something suddenly from the ship. What that email will be is 3 separate email groupings. What we've done is, at Phyllis's recommendation, is group it up between Phyllis, myself, and Jill Henry, who is our other coordinator while on board, so that we each have about 13 cabins or so. Phyllis, you have a few more because some friends of yours wanted to group up into your group. But that grouping with your POC identified is really just for point of contact information. So for example, I have cabin 3182. So if something changes in our itinerary that is to our group specific itinerary with our 10 o'clock meetings or something along that nature, then what we'll do is we will have your cabin numbers and we will send you chat information, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But we'll update you via that chat on board to our specific grouping. That way one person doesn't have 76 people they've got to get in touch with. We'll also leave notes outside of our own cabin doors as leads. So if you think you didn't get information, Phyllis and Jill and I will just put a sticky note or something on our cabin door that says the 10 o'clock meeting today has changed to room such and such. And the only reason that something would change in our meeting room is if Royal Caribbean changes it. So let's get to that meeting room. The meeting room is not the same room as the check-in room on the 13th. Our meeting room is going to be on deck 3 on the starboard side, and it might be a little tricky getting to, so you might have to ask a staff member, or maybe just before 10 o'clock, I'll stand outside or one of us will stand outside. But those event meeting rooms on the Odyssey of the Seas hold up to 80 people. And they are kind of sort of attached to or part of the dining room. And there's one on the port side and one on the starboard side. And Pam from More Travel has coordinated with Royal Caribbean for us to have the starboard side. So trust me, on day 1, I'll go survey the scene. I have been on many Royal Caribbean ships. This will be my 138th cruise overall across the cruise lines. So I haven't been on this class of ship yet. So I'll go survey the scene a little beforehand and get the information out to everybody as soon as I can. So that's the meeting room, the check-in room on 13th when you meet and get your swag bag. And then the meeting conference room that we have. And actually, if you're asking for instructions, even if you just go to the front desk, the customer service, but it's called a meeting room, event room, not a conference room. So, let them know what the group we are. We'll stop at the front desk and I'll let them know, hey, this is our group and you might get some questions, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is, so day one, when I sent the recommendation out that, hey, we all got assigned a 5 o'clock dining. And that was because Royal Caribbean does require that when we are group booking, they require like a month ahead of time that we send in, these are the names to put at the tables and the time. And that way they can assure us that we have tables assigned for our group before they assign tables to the rest of the passengers. So we get our table assignments first. So they needed to have that ahead of time. Now we realize not everybody wants to eat at 5 p.m. I'm not an early dining person, but for this next 8 days on the cruise, I will adopt my schedule as best I can because it's more important for me to, meet and greet. However, if you choose to change your dining time from 5 p.m. with the maitre d' to the second seating, or if you choose, let's say on day 3, you don't want to go to the dining room for dinner, you want to book one of the pay restaurants, or you want to go to one of the other included dining areas, feel free to do so. What we ask is that you just let the maitre d' know that be at least an hour before dinner that you will not be dining that evening, so that the rest of the table isn't waiting for you and the waiters aren't waiting for you, because they won't start serving until the whole table is there. So if you're not going to be there, please let the maitre d' know, or one of your other table mates know. And again, this is your cruise. Something Phyllis stressed with us, early on in some of the leaders' meetings was to remind you, this is your cruise, this is your vacation, and we're doing the group cruise for a little extra fun. So feel free to change your dining. I like to do the buffet in the evening sometimes because I might eat lunch at 1 o'clock up by the pool or in the buffet. And then 5 o'clock, 4 hours later, might be a little too early for me to eat. So anyway, do that. I mentioned that because, yes, Darlene, you will be dining. Your table is a fixed dining room table. So your table is assigned. You may have, and your dining room and your dining room table will be on your room card, which is about the size of a credit card. And it'll tell you what dining room you're in and what table you're at. So yes, it'll be the same people every night. Now, if 3-4 tables are there and you guys want to switch it up once you get there, switch it up. It's it's your cruise. Anyway, back at the dining, I made a recommendation that everybody go to dining the first evening at 5 p.m. So that, if, you want a chance to meet your table mates, you want to see what the dining room's like. But then after looking at the schedule on day 1, they are set to do the sail away party at 5 p.m. So, it's this or that, if you want to take pictures, Jean, I see, if you want to take pictures of the sail away, you want to, have a sail away drink, you want to enjoy the festivities, you typically have on a cruise ship up to about 15 minutes before the waiter will say, we're not waiting for the other table mates, I'm going to go ahead and take your order. So you have about a 15-minute grace period. So I recommend, if you haven't sailed before and you want to be at the sail away party up on the pool deck or the deck above and take pictures, maybe do so for about 15 minutes and then get down to dinner. Or, if you want to join at 5:30, nobody's going to send you to jail or put handcuffs on you or turn you away. Get down there. I wouldn't arrive after 5:30 p.m. though. So I leave that up to you. I will plan on, waving at 5 o'clock and then darting down. Remember, you have to take the elevator. It's a huge ship to get from, deck 16 to deck, 3 where the dining room is. So you make the choice. The second thing I wanted to talk about was on day 2, on the Royal Caribbean calendar, they do have at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, there is a full-on Veterans Tribute event. And that will take place in, I think that's the music hall. Let me see. No, the Veterans Tribute will be at the 270 on deck 5, the deck 5 portion of 270 aft. And so you will, see where that is when you do check-in on the first day. But on Sunday at 11, our first, or second day underway, I do recommend that we as a whole group do go to the all veterans, because there's going to be veterans there that are outside of our group. Remembering that on the 14th, on Sunday, we do have an optional get-together in that meeting room off the dining room down there from 10 to 11. So, we're going to be in that area aft anyway, so we can do our meet and greet 10 to 11, and then maybe 10 to 10:45, Phyllis, and
Sure.
do that shortly. And then the group of us go over to this big Veterans Tribute. Every evening, in addition to that, Royal Caribbean has a no-host veterans get-together over in the Giovanni's Wine Bar. It's not hosted. There won't be anyone from the crew like there will be, at the Veterans Tribute on the 11th. But I do recommend at your leisure, maybe stopping in and meeting some of the other veterans there as well. I see some questions coming up. I'll get to them really quick. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, if you haven't looked at your Royal Caribbean app, and I'll go over that too real briefly, but there's all kinds of things, activities, there's Zen coloring, there's a ladies pamper party a couple of times, there's bingo, which does cost you money. There's pickleball challenges. And then the day before we pull into a port, there's going to be port visits and highlights. So those who haven't cruised before, or those who haven't been to these ports before, may definitely want to go to that, so you can get an idea of what's going on there. Something to add into this, when you look in the Royal Caribbean app and you see things like the Ladies Pamper Party, or the champagne event at the jewelry store, or those kinds of things, those are hosted by venues on board the ship, and there may be some high pressure sales attached to that. So for example, if you go to the jewelry store champagne jewelry giveaway, that you'll get your champagne, but you're going to have to stand there and listen for about 15 minutes about Effie jewelry, or this great Tanzanite sale because it's a rare gem on earth and this may be your last time to buy it, which they've been saying for the last 30 years I've been cruising. And to get you to do that, to stay for the drawing, I've won probably 40% of the time I've gone to those things and won some great jewelry. So it's up to you. Same thing with the pamper party. If you go to the pamper party, they have little packets and show you how to put your face cream on and some eye stuff and yada, yada, yada. And then you got to listen to them talk about the $47, jar of hand cream and that kind of stuff. So it's up to you. If you want something to do during the day and that fits your schedule, do it. I always do the pamper party because I always take away the free little teeth whitening things for the cruise. So, all right, moving on. A couple of things to warn you about too. Bring closed-toed shoes. It's not just sandals. If you want to do some of the events on board, whether it's bumper cars or some of the other event things that they have on board, they will require that you have closed-toed shoes. And I have sailed with women before who didn't have closed-toed shoes and couldn't do the all-access tour because they were going into the kitchen and you had to have closed-toed shoes. So just think of that. I have some simple slip-on shoes I use for that. Sneakers do count as closed-toed shoes, anything that closes your toe. Okay. Yes, you can bring distilled water on board for those that have a CPAP. Royal Caribbean does allow you to bring the distilled water bottle yourself on board if you want to buy your own. However, they do ask that because you can't put that in your checked luggage, they do ask that you bring your CPAP with your distilled water so that you can show it's distilled water with a CPAP. If you do not want to bring your own distilled water on board, you can get it on board. Royal Caribbean is one of the ones that will give you, provide you with distilled water. Talk to your cabin steward, or you can stop by customer service desk on check-in and say, I need distilled water. If you need, you can also do it online on the check-in to put that you need distilled water, but double check once you get on board. I do encourage you to bring your own extension cord. It must be a non-surge protecting extension cord, or they won't allow you to bring it on board. They'll confiscate it and then give it to you after the cruise. But you can bring your own extension cord. I encourage you to do so. Although Royal Caribbean will provide you with one, it's based on how many they have in availability. So, Mr. O'Donnell, do you have a question? I can't hear you. You must be on mute. Well, I don't hear you at all. You put it in the chat, Mr. O'Donnell, and then I'll be able to read that. Okay, moving on. Each adult is authorized by Royal Caribbean to bring one 750 milliliter, your standard bottle of wine or champagne, on embarkation day only. So you can bring that, but it must be in your carry-on luggage, not your checked luggage. So it has to be in your checked luggage if you're bringing it on an airplane, and then you need to put it into your checked luggage, and you can bring that on board, absolutely. Don't forget your corkscrew if you don't have a screw top, because if you bring it to dinner, they will charge you a corking fee. It's ridiculous. It's like $20, $18 for a corking fee. If you forget your corkscrew, I have one. Your cruise cabin attendant typically has one too. You can ask them. Open your wine, pour it in the glass that's in your room, and bring it to dinner. Easy day. Okay, moving along so I can answer questions. Let's see, carry-on machine, embarkation day. Our evening reception that we have, the complimentary cocktail reception, where there are complimentary cocktails, and that's on the 15th. That is 16:30 to 17:30, and that will be in the music hall, which is on deck 3 and deck 4. So I'm not really sure how they've staggered that yet. I have to go and look, see when we get on board, but it'll be in the music hall. It is not designed to be a big dressy cocktail party. It is cocktails and mingling at that event. So I think I've run down all of that. I gave a very lengthy list ad nauseum of some cruise tips and things that I typically bring on this size of a cruise. I'm going to have to turn my phone sideways so that I can figure out how to get to all those questions in the chat.
We'll help you with the questions. We'll roll through some of those.
All right. Because I haven't figured out how to do it when I got my phone sideways. So
yeah, no, Joe, that's hard. One of the things that I saw in the documents that we received from More Travel included making sure that we do our health assessment.
Yes.
Can you talk about that, Joanne?
Yes. So the health assessment, the cruise lines do that 24 hours beforehand. And really, it's a very simple one. You scroll through it. It's just asking you, have you had a cold in the last 48 hours? Have you had any flu-like symptoms? Have you been diagnosed with COVID? Those kinds of things, because they want to make sure that you are not ill. So mark no if you're not. Mark no if you have allergy sniffles, because, every room in my house, my car, and my purse, everything has Kleenex. So I have allergies. I mark no. If you do mark yes because you've had a cold and what have you, they will pull you off to the side and have you assessed to determine whether or not you can continue on board. Now see, here I go.
So Gina's been helping to answer some of the questions along the way. One of the questions asked was, will the dining room change each night, or is it the same dining room every night? So the one that we're set up for, right, you'd go to the same one, but there are more places that you can eat at no additional cost, as well as there are the paid additional you might say upscale venues that you might want to choose one night out or not at all. But so it
Correct.
will be the same dining room throughout. And then it says, they wondered, you already answered that. Will we be dining with the same people each night?
Yes, yes, you will. Unless, like I said before, if there's 3-4 tables next to each other and you guys want to do the, all right, everybody shift to the left and you change, table mates, you can do that. But otherwise you are assigned what it's called fixed dining.
Yeah, so within the cohort, we can mix and match along the way. So there's no issue with that. I want to quickly also introduce Jill. She is our other lead. You're bouncing around. What's happening in your car right now? You're not in the earthquake, Jill. Jill's an Ohio ambassador, and she's on mute right now. But so Jill will be helping to run and support this. We do want to make sure that everybody has a chance to hear a little bit more about the Military Women's Memorial. I'm not sure if every woman veteran that's on this cruise with us yet fully understands the memorial and how your story really should be in this place, the National Memorial that sits at the entrance to Arlington National Cemetery. So we're really excited for this opportunity to partner with More Travel and just get this first one going, and we'll learn how we go together. I hope you all are excited. You've used the app some. This is it's my 4th cruise ever. It's the first one through Royal Caribbean. It's been a while since I've cruised, and they didn't have apps back when I was doing it. You just went on board and you cruised and then you got off. So now with the app, being able to look at everything, my sister and I, she's joining me. She is also a veteran, and she does her husband refuses to leave the county in Florida in which they have lived for a long time. So she gets to get out and travel with me, which is always nice because I've got a roommate that I can I know I can live with. I lived with her as a kid, so I can live with her now. And so she's booked a few excursions and other opportunities along the way that we probably, honestly, I don't know I would have done, but I'm up for it. And I hope you guys too have taken advantage of booking. I know that there was some of the questions a month or more ago as far as what were we doing as a group. But again, trying to herd 76 people because you never know who wants to do what. So Jill, I don't know if you're able to come off mute and just say she cannot. So you'll meet Jill once we get on the ship. In the meantime, I don't know if anybody else has an 11:30 boarding time. As soon as we get up there, we have additional swag items that, thank goodness, one of my friends that's also cruising on this with us, I just handed her over 3 big bagfuls, including suntan lotion, magnets, lanyards, all kinds of cool Military Women's Memorial stuff. So you'll be getting a great goodie bag. And if you are on one of the later boarding times on the day we arrive on Saturday, don't sweat it. The next morning at 10 o'clock, you'll find us and you'll be able to get your swag kit. Whatever wasn't picked up the day before, we'll make sure you get it at 10 o'clock the next day. So all too easy. This is meant to be fun and as stress-free as possible. Don't worry about it. We'll see you. If you can make 3 or 4 of the meetings, that's just fine. Joanne, back to you.
Okay, so I see another question, did anybody sign up for the key? Key, for those not familiar, is really just like an accelerated get on the ship early, and a few other things. If you are diamond status on Royal Caribbean, you really don't need that. But you can read more about the key and what that is on the app.
Your chips. You don't have no chips up here.
Sorry, iPhone 11. You were talking about potato chips. Can you mute it?
I don't have your chips. I don't know where your chips are.
I can't mute an iPhone. Let me see if I can.
Let's see. Whoever's talking about chips, move.
I think I was able to, as the host, I managed to mute. There we go. Keep going.
So those of you that there's a question about those with late boarding times. So if you have a late boarding time, like 1:32, 2:33, I can't speak 100% to how it's going to work for our particular cruise. But normally at the terminal, even though it says don't arrive early, if you arrive early, they'll just put you in a seated waiting area. But typically after about 12:30, that's most people's check-in times are 11:30, 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock. So right around 12:30 or so, they'll open it up and just say, you can board now, or they'll give you a little card that says you're in boarding group, 37. And then they'll say, okay, everybody from group 7 to 45, you can board now. So if you want to show up early and try that, you can. I'm going to try that. I'm sailing with my sister, Linda, who I believe is on the Zoom. And she's a Army veteran, and we have a 2 o'clock because of the time that we were able to check in. But we're going to get there early and try to board a little early as well. We do plan to wear some kind of military attire, whether it's my retired Navy hat or something of that sort, to spot each other. But I'll wear my Women's Memorial t-shirt on Sunday, on the 14th. Anyway, so yes, you can try to check in early, but they sign that so they don't get bum rushed, trying to board.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Joanne, we also will have special bracelets for everybody. It's the silicone bracelets, but they clearly say Military Women's Memorial. But you should be able to, I can't remember if they're red or purple. I think they're red. They might be blue, God knows. I just handed them off. That's all I'm just the courier today.
Roger. Okay.
Yes,
So
and for the men also, we want to support everybody that's in our group. And we have a 2.5-year-old late edition that has just come in. So we're excited about that. So, they're going to have tons of moms / grandmas and some grandfathers, pseudo grandparents to help with this little 2.5-year-old that's going to just be, come on, she's going to have everybody wrapped around her. She's going to have their wrapped around our finger before you know it. It'd be great.
Okay, I see a question about Anita. You requested an upgrade. Who should you notify? On Sunday, if you're is when I'm going to send out the group emails, and it's going to identify who your point of contact is for the cruise for our specific group. So let's say I'm your point of contact. If your cabin changes, just shoot me an email and let me know that your cabin changed so that I can change that. What I really want to talk about now is I want to slide into is the app and the chat program. So the Royal Caribbean app is actually very user friendly. And I'm currently on my phone on Zoom and on my laptop on Zoom, but my laptop tends to freeze. So I'm concerned about coming off the phone. Phyllis, do you have your phone with the app?
I do.
Can you app, and then I'll walk through the steps. But the main point I want to show you, a couple main things I want to show you on the app is
Paul's doing it. Paul, you take the lead, man. You got the phone right there.
But make sure it's all the way up so I can see the bottom of it. There we go. So if you all, because I know some of you are on your cell phones, and that's okay. But if you look at the app on the bottom, it'll give you, dining, your schedule. So you can actually now go in and look at your daily the planner, and you can see day 1 through day 8 and see everything that's on there. You can't see things like your account. You can't see a couple of other things. You won't be able to do the drill until you get on board. So something I want to share with that I kind of shared in the email and online is it is critical that when you get on board that you put your cell phone first in airplane mode and then Wi-Fi and then go to your Wi-Fi settings, and then, log into the Royal Caribbean Wi-Fi, the Odyssey of the Seas Wi-Fi. Give it a minute. There's about 5,000 people on this cruise that are getting onto the app. But the only way that you can do the drill is if you are logged into their intranet and onto their Wi-Fi. And the only way you can get there is airplane mode first, then turn your Wi-Fi on, then go to your Wi-Fi settings to log into the Royal Caribbean, to the Odyssey of the Seas Wi-Fi. Now your app will have all of your personal stuff in it. It will have your account. It will have other things that you ordered. It will allow you to make some other bookings that you can't book right now. So it'll allow you to do the chat program. And the chat program is free on Royal Caribbean. It's the only one I know of that is free. Other ones are like $5 for the week. But the chat program is something that Jill and Phyllis and I are going to use to be your point of contact primarily. Now, it doesn't mean you have to carry your cell phone with you everywhere. Some people don't like to do that, and that's fine. If you don't, you won't have the Royal Caribbean app with you. And if you choose to use a paper copy of the daily schedule, you can absolutely do that too. You need to go to the front desk. Typically now the cruise lines don't put the paper copy of the schedule for the next day in your cabin anymore to save money on paper, and everybody doesn't use it or want it because they use their cell phone. But you can get a paper copy at the front desk at customer service. Anyway, back to the chat program. So that's primarily how the three of us are going to use the point of contact group. What's going to happen is we log into the chat, and then we have your cabin number and your name. So we're going to go in there and we're going to request from each name. We're going to send you a chat request in that program. Hi, Joanne is requesting to chat with you. Accept me, please, because I'm going to put you all in one group. And that way I send a text in that chat program that says, hey, our 10 o'clock has moved to the port side. But we'll have other ways to let you know that. We'll put a note up. One of us will stand outside the door, what have you. It is a big ship, but we're not going to lose you. So you can, in addition to that, if my sister and I, we're sailing with two other friends, two other veterans, maybe the four of us want to be in our own chat. Well, then you start a new group and you send them a chat to join this new group and name your. So you can absolutely do that and chat with each other. This is the first time I'll be sailing on Odyssey of the Seas, and with their new satellite chat and Wi-Fi. So I don't know the level of reliability. I can tell you on the smaller ships, it's hit or miss. Sometimes I'll send a chat to my husband and 20 minutes later he'll get it. And he'll be like, where were you for 20 minutes? And then it'll pop up. So I wouldn't rely on that exclusively with your subgroups to do something in an instant. So I do recommend too that in your own subgroups, if there's like 10 of you that have matched up, and by day 2, you guys want to do this together, make the or your meeting group at 9 and then go do something or what have you. Okay. But the rest of the app is extremely informative. And the dinner shows on the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, comedy show, ice skating show, the dinner show, the book called The Book, those kinds of things. I say dinner show, but the evening show. You need to pre-reserve those to guarantee your entry and have a seat. So let's say the theater that one of them is in holds 2,000 people. If 2,000 people on the ship have already booked and you go to book it and it says it's already sold out, it'll say no cost, but sold out. Then if you want to go to the show, we'll need to go stand in the no reservation / standby line. Typically, 15% of the people that book the show don't show up. They just booked it on day 1 for day 7 because they panicked, and they don't show up. So your chances of getting in, will be very high if you're in the first 100 in the standby line, and they will open that up typically about 15 minutes before the show. Now there are some things I've already tried to book. I tried to book the theater show, the book, and for weeks now it has said sold out. So that may be because they haven't opened it up until you get on board. I don't know. I have
Gina
found that
says no. She's adamantly saying no. It's sold out. We have another. It says Martha Lovell, but you don't look.
Yes.
There you go. What you got there? You have a question?
Yeah, I put it in the chat. Are we gonna have name tags?
are we what?
Going to have name tags.
Phyllis, I would offer, I don't think we talked about name tags. There might be an opportunity to have a pack of the hello, my name is for Saturday morning, or I'm sorry, for Sunday morning at our first,
Right.
meeting at 10, but we won't have name tags with everybody's name on it to wear for the entire cruise. No.
And just to back up onto that thing about the book, in another chat forum out on Facebook, some lady was bragging about having gotten her seats for the book, and it has literally been sold out for over 2 months.
Oh, okay. Noted.
They booked it as soon as they paid their final payment. They booked it, and that was it. They were gone. There are people that have reservations, groups of them, because there's 6 shows and all 6 of them are sold out.
Hopefully, like Joanne said, you can still get in if we wait.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
My roommate and I got ours a long time ago for the book, but we
Good.
haven't seen anything else that you had to register for.
Well, some of the comedy shows and that kind of stuff will pop open to be able to book once you get on board. The book, the show called The Book, and Jersey Boys or Hair, that are shows on the other Royal Caribbean ships. Those are set. And some of the comedy shows are not set until like a week or so before the cruise because different venues change and what have you. So they don't normally open that up until you get on board if you don't see it already. But just check it. That's what I'm recommending. When you get on board Saturday and you get on your app, once you go to airplane mode, go to Wi-Fi, log into the ship's intranet, and then go look at your app and look at shows, you might see some other things. You might even see the book open up. You never know.
Yeah. Joanne, do they put up a waiting list or anything like that for things like that, or will it just keep popping up when people cancel?
It'll just keep popping up when it opens. They want, so you have to check it every day and then see if something opened, because some people may cancel, because some people even will book the first show and the show 2 days later because they want to see it twice. And then they'll watch the first show and then go, we don't want to watch the second show, and be courteous and cancel the second show. Not everybody's courteous. That's why they have a standby line. Yeah. Let's see what else we got.
I'm curious to know if people can put in the chat, how many of you are novice cruisers? Are there any that's like 2 or 3 cruises or less? So we can sort of know kind of who might want more support as opposed to those that are like Joanne with well over 100 cruises. I mean, she's the guru, I think. Only one in 1978. Well, Mary, this is going to be fun. I'm so glad that you're joining us.
Yeah. I know there are a lot of first timers that have called me in the last few days since I sent out the first email with the intro and stuff, and a lot of first timers. Looking forward to that. And
awesome. Yeah. I love this. And that's why I wanted Joanne to send the email. I won't lie, because there's a lot of And all it takes is one person, each person to respond one time. And suddenly I have like 70 new emails coming my way. And I'm like, Joanne, I can't do it. I just can't. So help
No
me.
worries.
Thank
I'll
you.
check email after the cruise.
Also, earlier when you were talking about the distilled water, I happened to have just done that yesterday through More Travel. Called Tina, and Tina got hold of the ship, Royal Caribbean, and they're actually having the water brought to our room in advance.
Perfect.
And stuff. So if you need distilled water for your CPAP machines, they can call in advance for you now, so you don't worry about it.
Yeah, I thank you for that. That's I didn't think to mention that because Pam at More or Tina at More Travel, they have a different higher level of contact with the cruise ship as a cruise agent for our group that's already booked, and they have a liaison. So they can do a couple of those things much quicker that are ship specific. Yes. Thank you.
Can you also talk about these lovely luggage tags and how important or unimportant they actually are?
Your luggage tags are extremely important. So if you do not have your luggage tag on your luggage, it will go to luggage jail. And you won't know it's in luggage jail until about 7 or 8 or even 9 p.m. Because when you think about it, there's like 5,000 some odd passengers on this ship. So if they don't have a luggage tag for you, it goes into luggage jail. And then they don't really open that up for you to go see if you've got your luggage yet until really all of the luggage has been delivered to people's rooms. So, around 7, 8, 9 p.m. So if you haven't seen your luggage by 8 p.m., then go down to the front desk and let them know your luggage didn't arrive, and they'll direct you over to the luggage jail. And you can what Debbie and Scott are showing you right now is a clear plastic luggage tag holder. I have those as well. You can order those from Amazon. They're not expensive. You can get them specific for Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean and Celebrity Cruise Line are sister companies. They're owned by the same folks. But make sure that if you are going to purchase those plastic luggage tag covers, that you make sure it says it fits Royal Caribbean, because Royal Caribbean is the thin and Carnival is the thick. And they'll either come with the metal round screw around your luggage handle or the plastic loop around, your choice. I do recommend them. If you don't want to pay for them, another trick is to put them between, your own laminated paper if you have that at home, but really you can just put them around your door or your luggage handle and staple them like 400, 500, 600 times so they don't come off, especially if there's any kind of condensation or rain and they're out in the open. They're on your regular printer paper so they can detach. If any of you remember old Samsonite commercials with the gorilla throwing the luggage, that's kind of how it's handled from the luggage handlers to get on the cruise. Once you drop your luggage off with the luggage handlers. So yeah, if you have something to put it in, I highly recommend it.
Also, if you go out to Amazon, make sure you get the 2024 Royal Caribbean tags, because the older ones from a few years ago are too small for the tags they're using now. So you want to make sure you get the new version of those the tag holders.
And remember, do not put your cruise luggage tag on your luggage until you are going to, the day of the cruise and you're going to be dropping it off. If you're flying in the day before, don't put it on your luggage to board your flight. Wait until the day that we are boarding the ship. So, what else?
Gina, were you indicating that the luggage tags, the clear plastic ones, were $5? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly what I was indicating. And it is the 2024 version. That's because that's what I did.
Who knew it had to be that specific? But thank you guys for telling us those things.
I had the old ones, and I'm sitting here trying to jam these things into the old one. I'm like, this isn't working.
Yeah, this is like folding an old fashioned map, the way it says to fold here, do not cut, fold here.
These
Like,
are a half inch, even once they're folded, they're a half inch longer than the old Royal Caribbean tags used to be, so that you couldn't even get them in the old Royal Caribbean tag holders.
do we have
Yep.
other questions? I'm looking, I'm watching. I
Hey,
love
I've
the
got-
postage. You can also.
I've got
request a
on
shower
Amazon for $12.99 for 4 of them.
check. Okay.
$12.99 for 4 of them. Yeah, because I didn't think they were that expensive.
Now, is it true you can only have one checked bag or per person? No.
On a cruise line, it's entirely different than an airline. You know, they may say on some of your other like chat, social medias like, oh, there's a 3-bag limit. No, you can bring as much luggage as you possibly want. Just remember, it has to fit in your cabin. There is no place else for that luggage. So, I mean, you can bring 3 pieces of luggage. It's an 8-day cruise. I don't think you're going to need that much, but especially if you have 3 different sizes, one fits in the other, because your luggage will be stored basically, unless you have a ginormous suite, with open corners in the room. Your cabin storage is limited, so you put them under the bed. And as far as the bed goes, for those of you that don't think that you're going to have a very comfortable night on the bed, I will tell you, especially on the newer ships, the beds are very comfortable, but that's just me. Comfort is subjective. But you can ask your room steward for a mattress topper. Ask on day 1 as soon as you see your cabin steward. If you get to your cabin, for example, they don't normally open cabins till 13:30 for everybody to go to, unless you have the keys. Some things you can get to your room a little early. But once you get to your cabin, if you don't see your cabin steward, write a note and leave it on the floor. So, when your cabin steward comes by, they see that, can I get a mattress topper? You can go to the customer service desk and ask them who your cabin steward is and what their phone number is. And you can call them. They all carry a little walkie-talkie thing that you can call them from your cabin from Easy Day. So, are there any other questions about packages, about drinks, what's available? We had a question earlier on the Facebook page about Starbucks. The Starbucks on board the Royal Caribbean ships do not accept the Starbucks gift card or the app. And the Starbucks coffee, the Starbucks shop is not a part of your drink package. So if you got the refreshment package that includes all the non-alcohol drinks, doesn't include Starbucks. If you got the alcohol package, doesn't include Starbucks. It's completely independent. So I have sailed with people that went to Starbucks 3 times a day, and at the end of 7 days, they saw their bill and freaked out because they thought it was part of their package. No, it's
Did somebody on Facebook had listed that there's a coffee shop similar to Starbucks that had all of the stuff? I think it was at Cafe 70.
something in
Is
the
that
back, the
Paul?
adults only.
yes. The cafe on board, the regular cafe, their coffee shop, the Royal Caribbean one, is part of your drink package, your refreshment non-alcohol package, or the coffee card if you chose to do that. Yes.
I thought they said that Starbucks took the gift card, but not the application, and you can't redeem. As far as
I will
like
say from my experience, and I just got off of Royal Caribbean in February, they did not accept the app or the gift card.
Well, I knew the app was out, but I thought the gift card was valid.
I have a question about whether people need to purchase Wi-Fi in order to use the app.
No, the app is with the intranet, the internal Wi-Fi to the ship itself. They don't charge for that, otherwise you can't use your app. And so none of the cruise lines will charge for that. However, the intranet, internal to the ship, the Royal Caribbean Wi-Fi for the ship, for the app, and the free chat program, internal chat, will not get you external Wi-Fi. You won't be able to go to Facebook, social media. You won't be able to go to your, Google or any of that. You won't get any off-ship internet. For that, you will have to purchase the Wi-Fi package.
And I don't intend to. I'm intending to do like 9 days of no. I'm sitting at the office right now working on 2 other screens with my desktop in between. And I'm like, yep, okay, keep going. I can't wait to not be connected to anybody except the human beings that are on the cruise ship with me.
My boss tells me.
Are
I
you
can
are you
go to
sure,
any
Phyllis, that that's just not your
bar.
background, that you're not really at work?
No, I'm quite confident. I know exactly where I'm sitting. Yeah.
My boss tells me anytime I get off the ship, I can go to any bar at any port in the Caribbean, and they've got Wi-Fi for free.
The other thing to do is I put in that, good to know for novice cruisers. If you're going to be using your credit card, and I always recommend bringing 2 of your credit cards if you have to, because if one ends up not working or you leave one on the ship, take one in port, kind of a deal. But if this is the first time that you're cruising and you're going to these external ports, to Aruba and Curacao, you need to let your bank know that you are on travel on a cruise and where you're going. Otherwise, if you try to make a purchase in one of those countries, on the islands, they may freeze your account. And then getting it unfrozen is, because they, are protecting you because they think it might be stolen going to Aruba and Curacao. So let your bank know. And for your cell phone coverage, check with your cell phone. I know with me, I have T-Mobile, and my T-Mobile plan, I have unlimited data and call and text in Aruba and Curacao. So I'm good. My girlfriend does not, so she'll pay like $10 for the 7-day cruise to her phone plan so that she has unlimited international. So double check your phone plan.
Hey, Joanne, I think you're getting the locations messed up. Curacao may have been your February cruise. We're not going there, I don't think.
Aruba and Curacao.
I thought it was Aruba, Coco, or the Perfect Day at Coco Cay, and what was the other one?
Curacao.
I didn't see that name. Okay.
Yeah, they're both all of them are beautiful. Curacao and Aruba, they're very colorful. Again, one of the recommendations I made on the Facebook page was make sure you bring some low denomination cash. Load yourself with singles and $5 bills, whether it's for the porter when you drop off your luggage at the cruise, or if you're tipping a tour guide. They do both, all 3 ports take US cash, but sometimes they're hesitant about giving change. So, definitely have some singles, bring with you in an envelope. You can get change, limited quantities over at the guest services desk. And the casino is very hesitant to give you change, to just walk in with a $50 bill or 20s and ask for 1s and 5s. If you go late at night around 10 and you just say, hey, can I get some singles and 5s for tips? Then the casino readily give you change if you tell them it's for tips. But if you go the night before we're pulling into a port, they know what you're there just trying to get change, to go into port. So.
Yeah. Joanne, I called the Visa card company because I was already getting international charges on my credit card for the trip that I just took to Costa Rica. And so Visa told me, yes, they told me the percentage of what they charge for every dollar spent. I forgot what the percentage was, but anyway, people need to be prepared for that too if they haven't been overseas in a long time or on a cruise in a long time.
Yeah, Martha, and not every credit card has international fees. The 2 credit cards.
I know that. That's why I said Visa.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a Visa with Navy Federal, and the Navy Federal Visa does not have overseas charges.
I called my credit union and she said the credit unions have nothing to do with it. It's from the Visa company. So when I called them, they verified that it was from their Visa company. So my credit union didn't have anything to do with it.
So that's a good recommendation to call your credit card company to see if they have international charges, and then, play your cards against each other and bring the one that doesn't, or like Martha said, be prepared for those charges.
Well, we have hit upon an hour. And
Okay.
if there's more questions, we're happy to keep it going. Otherwise, I know everybody, it's a Friday night, and we thank you so much for taking the time to start to get acquainted. On Sunday, you'll be looking for that other email. Do not forget, on Friday, the day before you get on the ship, you answer that health questionnaire in the app. Do that, step one. Make sure you have a passport or some other form of with you, and double check that it's not going to expire in the next 6 months. I'd hate for somebody to get there and be told they can't get on the ship. So let's see what we can do. And we're just going to have fun. We'll have some gatherings. We'll find some folks. We're not all going to stick together, 76 people strong and everything. But hopefully, Joanne, myself, and Jill, and a couple other of the folks that are intimately involved with the Military Women's Memorial will have a chance to talk with you and encourage you. If you have somebody in your family, past or present, living or deceased, that does not yet have their story in this national database, we're here to help you. And I'm not coming on the internet, so it's like we'll talk about it, and I'll help you after we get off the ship. But the ship is really meant for us to have a great time, to celebrate all of us that have served in the military and the families that have supported all of us while we've been doing that. So thank you all. And if you need anything, you have Joanne's and my emails, or just post it on the Facebook group. Hey, I love that name, Sassy. That's a good one. I'm going to be looking out for some of you folks. Thank you again for spending the time this evening with us.
Thanks, Phil.
How many people are arriving early? My wife and I fly in on the morning of the 11th at the Avid Hotel. Anybody else?
I'm driving down from the Villages in Orlando with my sister the day before, and we're staying at the Embassy Suites about a mile and a half from the port.
I'm coming early too, but I can't remember the name of the hotel off the top of my head.
And Paul, I forgot your room number for that 20, man. I forgot which one it was.
Well, on that, I'm going to